we have been discussing about the protocols of treatment. We are discussing about preventive measures. We are discussing about masks and protective gears, and different types of recent trends also have been discussing. And today, the most important question in the people's mind is what is community spread? Because in Delhi and all, it is being said that 1 out of 4 is suffering from COVID-19. Either COVID positive or symptomatically or asymptomatically, 1 out of 4 is supposed to be positive in Delhi. And in Western countries also, in the south part of USA, it is said that majority of the people are falling positive for COVID-19. So all this because of one singular word, that is community spread. How COVID-19 virus spreads in a community and how it spreads, how we can prevent it, everything we have to know from public point of view about this community spread. We are going to have in detail from Dr. Ravi Prabhu Garu, the today's guest speaker. Before he starts, I request Dr. Yugandhar Reddy to present the detailed statistical analysis from global, national and state level, particularly the Telugu states. Over to Dr. Yugandhar Reddy, please.
Good evening, everyone. Today I am going to present the present statistics all over the world in the India and two different, two Telugu states. Throughout the world, and the total number of positive cases are 1,57,10,467 cases. Among them, deaths were 6,37,000. Sir?
Video control. That's in video control. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Among the total positive cases, 6,37,601 cases died so far, and 95,86,288 cases has recovered. Among the active cases, 99% of cases are in stable condition. 1% positive cases are in critical condition. That is 54,20,360 active cases are in mild condition. 66,218 cases are in critical condition. Coming to the daily new cases, yesterday it is 1 second. In the world yesterday, 2,41,805 cases has reported. Among them, total deaths were yesterday it is 6,301. 318 total deaths were reported throughout the world. So coming to the total positive cases in respective countries, USA in the top row, it is 41,71,358 total cases. Next comes the Brazil, 22,92,286 cases. In the third place, India comes, that is 13,07,191 cases total. Next comes Russia, South Africa, Peru, and it goes on. So coming to the new cases, maximum number of new cases seeing in all over the world. Number 1 position, India is in number 1 position. It is reporting a maximum number of new cases per day. It is in number 1 position. The total number of new cases yesterday was 19,061 cases. Next comes Mexico, 8,000, Russia, 5,800, Bangladesh, 2,500, so on. So total number of deaths, if you take maximum number of deaths are happened in USA, that is 1,47,364 deaths reported. Next comes Brazil, 84,251. Next comes UK, 45,554. Next Mexico, Italy. India has reported 30,807 total deaths so far. Coming to the daily statistics of different states of India. So Maharashtra is in top position. It is having 3,47,502 total confirmed cases. Next comes Tamil Nadu. It is 1,99,749. Delhi comes 1,27,364 total cases. Karnataka 85,870. Andhra Pradesh 80,858. Next comes Uttar Pradesh 58,100. 4, Gujarat 52,000, West Bengal 51,000, Telangana 50,000. Next comes Rajasthan, Bihar, Haryana, so on. So coming to the detailed cases reported in each district of Andhra Pradesh, maximum number of cases reported in East Godavari, the total number of cases reported were 11,067. In Guntur, it is 8,800. Anantapur, it is 8,266. Chittur, 6,569. West Godavari, 6,541. Visakhapatnam 5061, Krishna 4841, Kadapa 4067, Srikakulam 3949, Nellore 3726, Prakasham 3059, Vizianagaram 2400. So these are the detailed total confirmed cases of different Telugu states. Telangana has not given split of district-wise statistics. So these are the present today's statistics, sir. Over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Yugandhar Reddy, for detailed presentation of the statistical data and analysis of COVID incidents and mortality rate in different countries and different states of the nation. And herewith we have got the guest speaker, Dr. Ravi Prabhu Garu, Professor and HOD of Social Preventive Medicine, SP Medical College, Tirupati. So herewith Dr. Ravi is going to present on the at what stage the virus during this pathogenesis can infect others, number one, the pre-symptomatic, asymptomatic, and symptomatic categories. And we are also going to discuss about how exactly the virus spreads into the community and what are the basic measures that we all know, but designing to expert is always it would be additional information. And what is the scientific basis of this transmission of COVID? And how exactly and meaning of the word community spread exactly means, and practically how it spreads and how we can arrest the spread. So I request Dr. Ravi Prabhu Garu to give his expert analysis from public point of view on all this aspect in terms of the community spread. Sir, Dr. Ravi Prabhu Garu. Yes, sir.
Sir, how much time, sir?
Maybe 15 minutes, sir.
Okay. Right. Shall I start, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay.
I think video control, can you?
Good evening, everyone. I think the watchers mostly will be non-medical people, so I prepared.
Yes, sir, for public point of view, yes.
My slides are such a way that they can be very easily understood by the general public. That is our main objective. So most of the people, the general public, are also aware that this COVID disease is caused by coronaviruses, a group of viruses. So many viruses are there, but we are talking about this new virus, novel coronavirus, which is also known as SARS coronavirus 2, because the disease caused by, in fact, SARS disease is caused by coronavirus, and this COVID disease that we are talking about is similar to the disease, the virus that causes the SARS disease. But it is a little different virus from the original coronaviruses, so it is known as novel coronavirus. Of course, started in Wuhan in 2019 in China. After that, it has spread to almost all countries. And here, for the benefit of viewers, I would like to just review some of the important symptoms. The first symptom, of course, is fever. And the second symptom is, of course, cough the patients will have. And it is said that around 80% fever will be there, whereas around 85% cough will be there. And some of them, in fact, around 50% will have both of these symptoms. And of course, that means it is also true that it's a spectrum of disease, where sometimes even these symptoms, both fever and cough, may not be present. So that is the picture. Of course, another deadly symptom is respiratory difficulty or dyspnea. These patients find it difficult to breathe. That is where, in fact, hospitalization is required. Otherwise, no hospitalization is required. Sore throat is one of the other important feature. And loss of appetite and loss of smell, known as anosmia, are emerging as the important symptoms early part of the disease. And most of them are aware. And now, in fact, loose motions are also called as one of the symptoms. So these are some of the clinical features. Most of the public are also aware that these are the symptoms of COVID-19 disease. For your information, COVID disease, it is known as, because COVID disease stands for coronavirus disease 19, because it is discovered in 2019. Okay, now, in fact, our friend Dr. Yugandhar Reddy has also just shown some figures. Just I'd like to review some of the important things. As on today, USA is the country with the largest number of cases, around 40 lakhs cases. Next, Brazil, around 22 lakhs. And India ranks third among the world countries with now 12.4. I think it's now around 13 lakhs. And if you see the trend of cases, the graph shows increasing trend. So the problem is increasing day by day. And total number of new cases is one of the important parameters by which we can gauge the picture. Now, in fact, the number of cases, as you can see, in January, December, and June. Now, July, lots of cases. In fact, yesterday and today, we had 45,000 cases. That shows the problem affecting India in particular. The most common states affected, you might be aware, Maharashtra is the most common state affected with 3.37 lakhs, Tamil Nadu 1.86, Delhi, and of course, Andhra Pradesh now is emerging as one of the important states. In fact, I should tell you that Andhra Pradesh is the state, the second state after Maharashtra with the largest number of new cases. Around 7,000 cases were reported yesterday, today in fact. And only Maharashtra is the state where more number of new cases are reported. That is, in fact, a very problematic picture in India. Now this is trend of new cases in India. Now we have around 75,000 cases now. If you compare the mortality rates, fortunately, Andhra Pradesh has one of the lowest mortality, if not the lowest. After Telangana, probably coming to some of the important states, second lowest mortality of 1.27% is the mortality. Now, if you see, please remember it's a spectrum of disease where most of the patients will have no symptoms at all. 70% will have no symptoms at all, 15% mild and moderate, 10% and 5% patients have severe and very severe symptoms. And the question is deaths. People are afraid in the community. Why we are afraid about this disease is about the deaths it can cause. Fortunately, this 70% I was speaking about, 15% mild and moderate, none of them will die. Most of them, almost all of them will survive. Whereas among severe, 10% may die. Among very severe, maybe up to 50% will die. So this comes to the point that out of 100 patients, only around 3.5 patients die. So that is typically working out for Indian pattern. But in fact, I should tell you that the mortality rate is much more less than this figure of 3.5% because of largest number of people who do not come to the health scenario. Most of the cases are not reported. In fact, ICMR has come out with some figure that the death rate is something like 0.013. 0.013% means for every 10,000 cases, only around 13 deaths will occur. That means the death in general, although we are hearing about 30,000 deaths in the country, 30,000 deaths means in fact so many. In fact, silent infections, if you also count, my figure is at least 1 crore or 2 crores are already infected in India. Not only we are only talking about say 13 lakhs, it's not 13 lakhs, more than even 2 crores or 3 crores infections. Now, briefly, we'll study the mode of transmission. The mode of transmission, we have two important modes of transmission. Third is also, of course, it is also there. People are afraid about it, but still it is one of the less common modes of transmission. When I speak about community transmission, means here community transmission generally doesn't mean transmission occurring in the community. It's only mode of transmission I was talking about. I'll come back to more community transmission word later. But here, as general public, people get infection through two common modes. One is respiratory droplets. Respiratory droplets, what we mean is when a person with COVID disease coughs or sneezes, or for example, even talks little loudly. Whispering, of course, may not cause respiratory droplets, but even small amount of talking, moderate amount of talking. As you can see, the yellow spots where the organisms containing the small droplet means very small drop that contains the virus in the atmosphere. And if these respiratory droplets are inhaled by the another person talking about talking with them or living in close contact with them, they can they can get the disease. That means that respiratory droplets through coughing, sneezing, and even talking, they are the major modes of transmission. Fortunately, as you are aware, the respiratory droplets fall down if it is more than 3 feet distance. So the transmission is only possible when a person is closely standing to another person with disease. Like, say, for example, 1 or 2 feet maximum. If it is more than 3 feet, probably transmission won't occur. Now, another mode of transmission is fomites. Fomites means where the people, the infected droplets, they are inhaled by the person, then there is a chance of transmission. So the fomites, what I'm trying to tell is, wherever the respiratory droplets fall onto some surfaces which are commonly used by the other people, they are called as fomites. The commonest fomites that we come across, so many are there, but a few examples I'll tell you. Table surfaces commonly, where other person touches, because table surfaces are the regions where the respiratory droplets settle on the table surfaces, and another person, if he touches the table surface, her hands get contaminated, and if they bring closer to their mouth or nose, then transmission can occur. So this is the basic mode of transmission in fomite-borne transmission, we say. Commonly railing of stairs, so that's why we tell to avoid touching the rails or stairs unless you are totally dependent on your walking. And then common door handles. If so many people touch, any person with infection touches, his hands are likely to be contaminated. He is likely to contaminate the door handles. And this is how transmission can also occur. Of course, computer mouse and keyboard or some of the other modes of lift buttons also, they can sometimes lead to infection. And common things like, for example, sharing of pens, notebooks, or for example, in a hospital or even a house also, the linen that we use, cot we use, all these things can carry infection. Of course, commonly bank checks, or in fact, any instrument, paper, or even metal surface where there is sharing of say people touching it, there is a potential source of transmission that is acquired by the other person. But of course, fomite is not an important source of infection. So still, of course, there is a chance of transmission that you have to remember when I'm talking about community transmission. Now, another transmission that we are deadly feared about is aerosol transmission. Aerosol transmission is where the organisms become airborne. They will stay not like respiratory droplets. Respiratory droplets, they fall onto the ground after, say, 1 or 2 minutes. So there is no chance of transmission after 2 minutes. But aerosols are special case where the aerosols are very small in size. They remain in the air suspended for even, for example, hours together, sometimes even 4 hours or 5 hours. That means a person who comes in contact with another person in a room where it was used by previously another person, where he coughed and then the aerosol, the organisms remain suspended in the air for quite some time, the transmission is possible. Fortunately, the chance of transmission through aerosol is less than 1% in community level. So this is only relevant probably, I think, in the hospital procedures where some kind of a, as you can see, these hospital procedures of aerosol generation, the hospital procedures will do. So in fact carries a lot of risk for the healthcare workers, including doctors and nurses. And even swab collection also has a chance of aerosol transmission. So what I mean to say is community level, the aerosol transmission is, that doesn't make a very common mode of transmission. Only droplets are the major mode of transmission. Now coming to prevention. Prevention, of course, if you basically know about the mode of transmission, then you can prevent the infection. The first one is, of course, hand washing that we advocated. Frequent hand washing as much as possible when you go home or return home, or when you move out even in the office also. Try to wash your hands quickly and so many times in a day. That means because soap destroys the organisms virus very quickly, any soap will do. So, but of course, the steps are also very important. You have to see that all parts of the hands are covered, like back of the hands, tips of the fingers especially, and then wrists, then especially the webs of the fingers, and then thumb especially you have to wash. That means there are so many steps. In fact, people say you have to at least spend about 1 minute time, or at least half minute time. 30 to 40 seconds hand washing is required to prevent or kill the organism or virus. And then second important measure is maintaining physical distance, preferably say 2 meters up to 6 feet, or at least 3 meters in all directions from others. So that way, respiratory droplet you can prevent by physical distance. Then of course, as much as possible, don't touch other person. Instead of handshaking, just say hello, or say use namaskaram as our Indian style of greeting. So no physical shake hand. Then another important thing is cough hygiene. Most of us, in fact, whenever we cough or sneeze, we have a habit of putting our hand near our mouth. So our hands get contaminated, we can contaminate the fomites. There's a chance of transmission. To prevent that, people advise that putting elbow whenever a person coughs or sneezes will prevent to a major extent. Or if you can't use your elbow, a tissue paper would do, of course, but tissue paper has to be disposed immediately. It cannot be reused again. Handkerchief is not a good thing because handkerchief is again used with the person. So best thing is to use only tissue paper. Now, of course, wearing gloves to some extent it can prevent, but of course, wearing gloves is not a compulsory thing. The general public, because we cannot we don't do hand washing whenever gloves we wear. So that is the reason why only in limited circumstances and in circumstances where you don't wash your hands or there is no chance of sanitizer being used, then you can wear gloves. Otherwise, the glove wearing is not a compulsory thing. Now, of course, the most important, of course, is wearing face masks. And there are different face masks available. The common face mask is a cloth mask, which can be should not be shared by the people. Same mask can be used by other person, of course, with hand. You can wash also repeatedly, means after 6 hours duration, you can go for a washing and then use it once again. So cloth masks for the general community, I think, are the best measure of protection. Of course, the otherwise surgical mask. Surgical mask, remember, it has to be disposed of. That is why, in fact, the community use, we always advocate cloth mask instead of surgical mask. Of course, this is third mask is used by medical people. So N95 or some other mask Of course, for community use, it's not required because it's costly, and then it cannot be reused once again. Like if you can use it only for a few times. In fact, people say there are different methodology of using reusing also. But usually, even this medical mask or N95 mask should not be used once again as much as possible. Now, avoiding crowded places is one of the important things. And touching the face should be avoided because of chance of contaminating your hands, and then you are contaminating the fomites. Even hand rubbing the eyes also should be avoided. And of course, we have a tendency of touching our hands with the face, and then, so what should we do? So simple thing is you do hand washing immediately as soon as possible. That way you are preventing. And then please remember, whenever you have got a difficulty, a symptom which cannot be explained, a severe symptom, if you think, probably better to seek medical care and get hospitalized. Of course, the best person who can give you advice is a medical doctor. In summary, what can I tell you is, at present, no vaccine or no specific treatment available, although our doctors are talking about so many. Of course, we have got new drugs available. We have got new treatments available, which can save many patients are being saved. But at the same time, please remember, there is no specific treatment even now available. We are working out different methodologies of treatment which can save many patients. So only prevention is possible at this present moment. Vaccine is still under trial. We are expecting the vaccine probably before the end of this year or early next year. Before that, at least we have to take all these precautions. Once again, I am telling you, frequent hand washing, wearing mask and physical distancing, avoiding fomites as much as possible, and use of hand sanitizer. Whenever hand washing facility is not available, you can go for hand sanitizer. But otherwise, hand washing with soap and water is the best thing. And the take-home message from my side is, there are large number of people now infected or without symptoms. And in Andhra Pradesh, where now we are living, in fact, we had 7,000 cases, new cases. The cases are bound to increase day by day, and then another one and a half month or even 2.5 months, the cases will be there, maybe much longer than that. So precaution should always be universal. Don't think this person we need not take because he's looking healthy. So please take precautions everywhere, and all times you have to take it, and try to avoid exposure to the maximum extent. Of course, to avoid exposure, you have to live like a hermit, go to a forest. It's not possible. So whatever is possible, please avoid exposure to the maximum extent. Now, before ending, I'd like to tell you about this community transmission. I told you how the disease is transmitted in the community, but in WHO terminology and what we are community transmission is means where, as you know, this disease has got 4 stages. The first stage is where the disease is only reported in people coming from foreign countries. Second is where the disease occurs in local people who come in contact with the people who have come from foreign countries. That is the second stage. Third stage is where there is a widespread community transmission. What I mean is, so there is no foreigner involvement here. A person gets infection from his friend or his neighbor. That is what's called community transmission, third stage. Fourth stage is where, in fact, when a person gets a disease like COVID, he cannot say how he has got COVID. Just like common cold, when you get a common cold, what we say, when I ask you a question, how did you get the common cold, means I cannot tell from where I have got this common cold. Means it is widespread in the community, so I don't know how it has come. This is what is called community transmission. And people say we have reached the community transmission stage, but still, as you can see, if you ask many people, at least 50% of even now, or more than 50% say that there is a contact. There is a patient of, I had been exposed to a patient, I had talked to him, he had a COVID positive recently, something like that. So there is some history. So still we have not gone to that 4th stage, but still definitely we are in the 3rd stage. So whatever it may be, whether it is community transmission, 3rd stage or 4th stage, don't bother. Ultimately, the precautions universal precautions are the things that are required, and that is the order of the day that we have to understand. And to end, I'm telling you, this problem will remain for some time, 2.5 months. So when it will end, we don't know exactly. But people say herd immunity, when it develops gradually over a period of time, wherein around 50% of the people get infected. Probably my figure is around 1 crore real infections, 1 crore reported cases will occur in the community, Indian communities. Then we have, now India, in Delhi, what we have seen is, Delhi already had got more than 500 per 1 lakh cases. 1 lakh population, more than 500 cases. So for the population wise, it has crossed certain limit. Probably now 25% people already got infected. So it has got slowed down. So the moment it approaches 30%, 50%, the epidemic naturally comes down. So we have to wait till then, but still what we can see is we have to follow the precautions and see that you don't get infected. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your detailed presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, being a professor and HOD of a reputed medical college like SPM Medical College, to listen from an expert like this, though these are very basics, these are most fundamental things. Most fundamental things are most important always in anyone's life. So, precaution is the only way of not getting into this COVID-19 spectrum. So be very, very careful. So we don't know from where we are getting this contact. It is not possible to know. So many people may say that it is primary contact, this is a secondary contact, but still, as sir has told, like you don't know how you catch cold, you don't know how you catch COVID-19. We go and catch COVID-19. COVID-19 doesn't come and catch you. We go and catch that through some person or some means in a mysterious way is what is happening. But precaution, care, personal care, social distancing, sanitation, personal sanitation, these are most important, most basic, and we have to do it on a daily basis. So thank you once again, sir, Dr. Ravi Prabhu Garu. And Monday we are going to meet again at the same time, 7 p.m. And we are going to have a very interesting topic about what we need to know about home quarantine. You know, people are, so many people are living in home quarantine zones. So public, the person who is really in a home quarantine, what exactly he can do? Because in a home quarantine, naturally parents can be there, a spouse can be there, children will be there. How, for example, a two-bedroom flat, how they can live actually in home quarantine? How about the spouse? How about the children? How about the elderly parents? And how about any other person living in the same small premises, Indian style houses? So we should know much more about this home quarantine. On Monday, 7 p.m., we'll talk in detail about what we can really understand, the measures to be taken in a home quarantine situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
A nice presentation, sir. Useful.